was only one tire. We do have a fix for that.
These parts are made to handle so much torque.
The Drip King! Woo!
Mikey, what are you doing, buddy? You taking the wheels off already? We just put them on.
We just can't make up our minds with this truck.
Well, why are we just changing out the rear wheels and not all four?
Because you guys want to see a burnout, right?
What? We're gonna do a burnout today?
It's a little hard to spin these proxies, man.
Oh yeah, these are some serious.
That's a lot of meat right there.
Yeah, that's very sticky. We got some Chinese boys on these, right?
It's for Easter. We decided not to eat meat and keep meat on our truck, so we're gonna go with these these bad boys.
So we're gonna swap out some wheels, guys, and we're finally gonna be doing what we've been talking about this entire time. We're gonna smoke some tires.
Back in November, we were out at Hoonigan's Burnyard. Andrew did manage to do a one-wheel peel. When you were out at the Burnyard, what was the situation?
We were running into the problem where anytime we were putting a lot of load on the motor, it would want to cut out because it was overdrawing from amperage. So we were struggling to get the car to break the wheels loose. Chris Hazel was here and put his fingers on the keyboard and the software and dialed in the power delivery. So hopefully we're gonna have a little bit more success this time.
This is basically a little R&D because we have a couple of events coming up. This is kind of like a preliminary test to the big test. So turn it on, Andrew.
It is on, Mike.
Oh.
I
don't know why I always get nervous every time we're out here doing burnouts.
I'm just gonna hit it and see what happens.
Yeah, that was a front wheel burnout. Did you try all wheel? Is that what you're in? That was front.
Was it the front?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, at least we know that the front wheels do a burnout. Yeah. Spun those toys, no problem.
All right, I was confused. I was like, that felt a little strange.
Front motor only, and it was able to spin those proxies, so that is a good sign.
There we go.
That was only one tire. Only the passenger side spun out. Can't you hold your foot on the brake and do it?
The motor just doesn't allow you to do that. Right now we have a brake sense input. Maybe if we dumbed it down and didn't give the brake input to the motor, maybe we could.
I'd say that was a flop.
Let's put them all on, see what happens.
You want to do an all-wheel drive?
All right, so now he's got both motors turned on. Let's see if this makes us smile. Holy script. That's scary fast. That's proof in the pudding that she's fast.
See how fast I accelerated?
Yeah.
That wasn't even all of it.
No. Build an electric truck, they said. It'll be fun. They said it'll be fast. Yeah, baby. Woo! I mean, I'm impressed. The thing can move. We were able to get a burnout. One time it did manage to spin both tires. You never really know what you're gonna get. But we do have a fix for that. So we're gonna drop that rear motor out once we get this truck back inside, and we're gonna play with the diff. We're gonna be dropping the complete Tesla subframe out of the truck, get into the diff on the large drive unit, and they're gonna be installing that Quaife limited slip differential in place of the stock Tesla unit. So that way, both wheels spin together.
Going up.
Would you look at that?
Here we go. Here is the box sent all the way from the UK. Look at that thing. I don't even really know what it does, but it looks expensive.
I didn't even know they made these for Tesla large drive units. So guys, if you are doing a Tesla conversion, if you're doing anything at home, ZeroEV.com has all your parts required to do your home conversion. We've been leaning on them a lot for this build. This is a one-way diff, and it's actually got a spool in it, so it's not super aggressive. So this is gonna be perfect for daily driving and going to the track.
So that's the difference of the diff.
Let's get that diff out, and then we can get this diff in.
So now the inverter cap is off and I'm able to unplug my temp sensors that go into the motor side. And then also I have access to the bus bar, which is underneath here. It's just a large strip of metal that distributes high current power. So I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling the differential assembly off of here. You can see inside there, standard spider gears, regular open style differential in there. It attaches from the exterior of the case. 6 nuts holding these studs on. I just wanted to talk about some of these gear sets inside here, and structurally, these parts are made to handle so much torque. Compared to your normal or standard automotive application, these are huge. Just last episode, we installed a gear set in the back of the K10. So you go back and look at that and see how large this is compared to that. The amount of ring bolts that are holding this on, the massive amount of clamping force that's used to attach the gear set to the differential assembly. You can see here it's got internal oiling as well. There's an internal oil pump that's driven right here, and that's gonna pump oil onto our large ring gear. You can see here in this hole, and then on top of the other gears back here. This is actually the reduction drive here. So this is probably obviously the 1-to-1 ratio coming straight out of the motor and then into this gear set. This is how you would change the output ratio on this drive motor with these 2 gears. Tim, have you seen anything like this before?
I think I'm looking at like a Top Fuel dragster gear set right now. I can't believe how much freaking metal they have in there. This is what's inside of your Tesla that you're buying to go literally to the grocery store to pick up your kids.
I'm gonna start pulling the gear set off of here, the ring gear off of here, and installing our awesome new Quaife helical LSD, all the way from the UK, baby. Chris Hazel over there got this shipped out to us overnight. I think it showed up in a day and a half. And they're talking about supply chain problems and delivery problems. They're just not dealing with the right people. Well, I got the unit all back together, all the bolts back in. Can't forget the shim went between the case and the bearing here. I'm assuming that's gonna be to give it the right spacing it needs between gears.
All right, so back to the drawing board, guys. Our lower control arms need to be modified once again because the weight and the power of this truck is just proving to be a beast that just needs to be tamed. This guy's got a pretty nice bend in it. As you can see, the whole thing's kind of pivoted back. So we have to make this a one-piece control arm. Cal's gonna go ahead and pull the front end out of this thing. I'm gonna make this out of one-piece bar, and it's gonna tie into this guy, bring this up, and then we're going to change out this Heim end to stop it from rotating down. Right now it's just been kind of trial and error. We're not really totally comprehending how much torque an electric car has. So this is just one burnout. We know we need to beef everything up a lot more. They are very bent, like really bent. So I'm gonna go ahead and build a partial fixture. I'm gonna cut this off and get rid of this guy, cut this all off. So for that, I have to freeze this position in space and freeze this position in space. I'm going to bend a 90 out of some DOM tubing and then go ahead and weld it back in and then put a big old fat gusset on the back side, and then this control arm should be good to go. So this is the basis of our partial fixture to be able to get these control arms repaired. I have a standoff here for the pin on the end where it actually bolts to the upright. And then where it bolts to the chassis, we have these angle brackets that we cut. I want everything to be square so that when we start cutting this thing up, we have a good basis to work off of. So as you can see from the old design, we got rid of the tabs that held the 2-piece arm together. And then I removed underneath this whole bracket and kind of came back on an angle. My plan is to fish mount this pipe coming over here, and this will come up in a 90 and then reach over to the other side of the arm, which is going to be this bung that we're going to steal. So we're going to cut this one up, prep it, we'll throw this one back in the fixture, and we're actually going to make a little jig piece underneath to hold it flat and level. All right, we have all our parts nice and prepped. We have our bongs cleaned up. We had our inside here cleaned up. Now we gotta start bending some pipe. Now, last time we used the JD squared bender, we built the roll cage for the EV-C10. We had some issues because we wouldn't have the right amount of power to be able to bend some pipe. So we had to like hook it up to the lift and all this jazz. Well, apparently the guys at JD saw us and they hooked us up with this sweet air pump pedal. So we got our ram, some hydraulic fluid in it, hook up our air line, and it's all foot activated. Whereas before we had this electric doodad with a hand controller, and that's all nonsense. So what we got here is some 1.25 inch material. I want to do like a 45 to be able to jog it from the actual bung to the other side of the control arm. See how that looks. If I need to put a little more bend into it, I will. And then once we have it where we want it, then we'll start coping everything in. Yeah, definitely have to put more bend into it. All right, this is more like a 45. That looks pretty good. I think that's gonna work. So the whole control arm now has completely changed its design. It's all like a nice solid lower A arm. I want to weld a bracing here so I can cut this thing loose from the table, and I can flip it upside down in any way I want while I'm welding this all up. Before we cut it loose though, I'm probably gonna do some 1/2 inch long runs on the top here, just so we get this thing nice and locked in. I think I'm going to put some gussets inside here. I'm gonna put some additional gussets here to tie this all in, and then it should be good to go. All right, these are finally nice and cool, and we're going to go ahead and throw a gusset in that entire space right there, because I am not going to have to do this again. It's going to be a little bit heavier, but honestly it's going to be worth it because these things are not going to ever break or twist. What I did was just put some tape on the backside of the control arm, marked out my triangle there. I'm going to cut it with a razor blade and transfer it over to our material, cut it on the bandsaw, and we'll weld those in.
Lower control arms are installed. They're looking nice and pretty. Got a nice coat of paint on them. And these things are reinforced to the nines, guys. Like I said before, we put the plate in there. We put the reinforcement bar. We went from a 2-piece design to a 1-piece design, so I'm pretty pumped on that.
All right, so Simpson safety harnesses are going in the S2S look today. Finally, I know a lot of people have been giving us a bunch of crap about driving around. And we're gonna have our shoulder belts mounted onto our harness bar. They'll be right at the proper angle for the shoulders, anywhere between 0 and 20 degrees. And then we have some anchors down here for our lat belts bolted to the frame. There we go. Back at it again. So we went ahead and fabbed up some adjustable links for ourselves to give us the camber and toe correction that we're gonna need to get the alignment specs that we want. Also in the front, did a bunch of bracing on the inside. Right now our sway bar is off. We're trying to do some testing to see how it's gonna feel with it off and then with it on. Just kind of doing some research here. Probably the most significant change that we did, we put a limited slip differential from Quaife in here, so we're gonna have positive traction on both left and right wheels in the rear, so that's gonna help a lot. We still have the dash out. We made a couple adjustments to the wiring, also to our steering column angle. We drew it up a little bit so we give more room for our knees between the seat and the steering. We know it's gonna be better, but how much, we're not sure. Let's take this thing out on the road and see what she could do.
Here we go, boys and girls. All right, guys, here we are. We are in this big old abandoned parking lot. We're probably gonna get in trouble, but for you guys, we're gonna take that risk. It looks like some other people have been out here drifting, so I believe we should be all right since we are in the EV truck and it will be quiet. So shh. Doing burnouts in the back of the shop are cool and everything, but it's just not enough room to stretch our legs. So we're gonna take a chance and hide from the Boca PD for a couple minutes and get you guys a little burnout content, hopefully. Yeah, buddy. Happy?
I am very happy right now.
Either we have low battery voltage, or I think that the motor, like the way that the voltage ramps in, it's not strong enough. I think it's a little bit too tame. I don't have a laptop with me to kind of see what it's doing, but
This is also the first time you really actually got to rip the thing, so
Yeah,
it's gonna be a process of getting to know something.
yeah, I've only cruised it around a couple times, so. Actually doing any kind of performance driving, this is the first time, but it's going well so far.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy! Woo! All right, so all that was just on the rear motor. Fast AF, as you kids say. So now Andrew's gonna turn on both motors, so he'll be running all-wheel drive. Let's see. Oh geez, oh geez, watch the fence. Whoa, that thing is crazy. Wow. This is a message to all you haters out there. So if you got a Squarebody, you got a truck, and you got a LS something, you bring it down here to South Florida, because Andrew gonna stomp you, boy. We're all excited. So that's a wrap, man. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of the really awesome content we have coming up for this truck. We do have some track days set up. We have some races with some other people that have been talking trash. Some are not even talking trash, they just want to race us. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching, thanks for following along. Hey, go check out our website. Pick up some of this swag, man. Support our content. These videos ain't cheap, people. You hear me? Later. And you got this guy laying down on the job, man.
Hot pavement.
Come on, Kyle.
I'm hiding from the police.
I already told the guys already. I'm gonna pull out the subframe. You are gonna install it. I'm not putting my hands inside that thing.
Wait a minute.
Two-way.
I didn't know this is where these were made. Look at that.
Look at that, man.
Look at that.
Yeah, the UK does make something good.
You can